Hey, it's Brandon. Today I'm going to be making scrambled eggs, specifically large curd eggs and medium curd eggs. Over here, my eggs, best choice large grade A eggs. I got it from the Mizzou market a few days ago. They're not AA, but I've checked them. I did the candling and I checked for cracks. They were all good. So, yeah. So to start, I have a heavyweight aluminum 8-inch skillet. So I'm going to start by putting this on low. I'm going to be doing the large curd eggs first, so I'm going to put it on low, heat this up for a little bit, and then I'm going to start on my eggs right now. So I'm going to crack my eggs. I have 2 that I'm going to be using. I'm not super good at cracking eggs. I kind of just, hit it over like any edge or something, and then hopefully it doesn't like break the yolk. I've seen some people do it with like one hand. I'm not very good at doing it with one hand. I've tried. And perfect. No shell. It did pop. It's okay, but there's no shell in it, which is good. I actually have a story about that later on once I get towards the end of the video. Alright. No shell in this one either. I'll show in a second. Just want to make sure I get all this egg yolk off my hand real quick. So here's what the eggs look like after cracking. I'm going to mix this in and I will be back in a second. Before I scramble my eggs, actually, I'm going to put my, gosh, what does that even say? Carolini butter spray on. Non-stick butter spray. I think it's non-stick. I'm going to spray this on. I took it off of the heat. Then I also have my butter I'm going to put on, and then I'm going to put it back onto the heat. Just getting it on. There we go. I put 1 tablespoon of, let me see the brand, Great Value, Great Value unsalted butter. And I didn't want to do salt because it's going to affect the egg. I'll talk about that later though in the video. Here's me stirring the eggs, doing it pretty quickly, pretty frequently. I'm going to stir for about a minute and then I'm going to let it rest. And then I'm going to put it on the pan. So here's what my eggs look like. They've been rested for about a minute. I'm going to do a quick stir and then I'm going to put it on my, my pan. It's still on low. Pouring it on now. So I'm going to increase the temperature to about 3.5. So I'm going to let it cook for just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to start stirring it in, like stirring to the side, mixing it. Not mixing it, but like pushing it to the side. Okay, I'm going to push this to the side, move it around a little bit slowly. I think I might have waited a little bit too long when stirring this. Not stirring this, putting it together. So the eggs are almost done. I'm going to take it off the stove now to make sure they don't get overcooked. I also realized I don't have a plate, so I'm just going to put it in my saucepan real quick just to get out of the heat. Here's what it looks like. So I'm going to do a quick taste test on the eggs, see how they taste. shoot, dropped it. Overall, they're pretty good. They're like firm and soft, but not like too like soft, not like soggy or anything. The flavor is pretty good. Next time I'll probably do salted butter when I make it, or just add salt at the end or something, but overall they're pretty good. I'm starting my medium cooked or curd eggs. I have my resident Taryn here.
Hey.
And
Leah.
Leah, sometimes my resident. I see her sometimes.
On occasion.
Sometimes. So I sprayed the pan onto this and a little bit of butter. Now I'm putting it back on. I'm gonna wait for it to melt and then add my eggs. Okay, I just put the eggs in. I'm gonna stir them in now.
I hate breakfast, but the first thing I learned how to cook was eggs when I was a kid. And then mac and cheese. Kraft. I freaking hate Kraft mac and cheese.
So this is how the medium curd eggs turned out. There's like a lot of curds, but it's not like fluffy or anything like the other one. I'm pretty sure I just messed up because like 2 reasons. I didn't scramble beforehand. I watched like a tutorial on this on the medium curd, and the guy like literally just put it in the saucepan and then like scrambled it in there. But I probably should have scrambled it beforehand. And then the second thing I messed up is I think I had it a little too hot, because when I was like in between cracking eggs, it already started to like cook a little bit. So that might have been an issue. There's a lot of curds on it though, but just not like fluffy. It's very watery and like run down. So I'm gonna do a little taste test on it. It's definitely like a little bit more watery. The taste is still the same, but a little more watery is like all I can say about it. And I didn't get the, when I was taking it off, I was like kind of rushing, but I was letting it cook, and basically it was like kind of like not cooking that much. It was kind of just staying like a watery consistency. It started to cook a little more at the end, but I took it off right before it looked like it was done, and it turned out like this. It's still pretty good, but just not like airy or watery, or I mean, just not airy or fluffy like the other large curd egg. So I have the egg science, the explanations, you know, all the egg jokes. So for my large curd eggs, the frying pan I used was a heavy non-stick 8-inch aluminum pan. This allowed for my eggs to not get stuck anywhere or get burnt anywhere. So that was nice, it kept everything together. For my medium curd egg, I used a non-stick saucepan, which was also metal aluminum, and then the same explanation for the large curd egg frying pan. It allowed for it to not stick anywhere or get burnt anywhere. I used an electric burner for both eggs, and then when I mixing the eggs together allowed for the proteins in the yolk, ovomucin, ovalbumin, and ovotransferrin, to mix in with the egg white, which is made of 90% water. The contents of the egg is covered on McGee pages 76 and 77. This also, when I mixed in the eggs, or like I beat them quickly, it also allowed for the eggs to have more air in them, which later resulted in a fluffier texture. For preheating my pan for the large curd eggs, I used unsalted butter as butter. I actually saw, not an interview, but like an article, and it talked about McGee, and he said that I didn't use salt, but the reason that salt doesn't toughen up eggs is that while acting as a catalyst, it acts as a catalyst to make proteins bond at a lower temperature. So although I didn't use salted eggs, I still think my eggs turned out pretty good as they like combined and broke down. So anyways, with preheating, I took the pan off, and then I sprayed it down with the non-stick butter like pan spray, and then I put the butter on and then placed it back on the stove. Next, I scrambled my eggs for about 1 minute, and then as I mentioned earlier, it allowed it to become airy, and then it looked like frothy. And then I let it rest for a minute, and then I placed it on the stove, and then this allowed the proteins to denature. I put it on a low medium heat, and then the eggs broke down, unfolded, and tangled with each other into a three-dimensional network. There's still a lot of water in the egg, but the water was divided up within the protein pockets, so it made sure it wasn't runny, and then it allowed it to cook more. This is covered on page 206 of Courier's, the Cookwise book. And then for my medium curd eggs, I had a little bit of issues with this one. I did the same preheating methods as I did for the large curd eggs, but the mixing was a little bit differently, and heating was a little bit differently this time. So I just put the eggs in as is. I didn't mix it beforehand. I didn't incorporate any air because I was watching a YouTube video and that's what the guy did. But the problem was I had my temperature a little too high, so my eggs started cooking like faster than I wanted it to, and I didn't get to like mix it in or allow like the eggs to like have any air in them. So my eggs were like very, what's the word? I don't know. It was like very low, not risen at all. So yeah, the heat definitely made my eggs cook a lot faster. Luckily it wasn't like rubbery or hard, but they did end up coming out soft and watery. And then it discusses on McGee, page 84, that overcooking eggs can give it hard lumps and or a watery, liquidy texture. And then, yeah, I thought the appearance for it turned out more like small curd eggs than it did medium curd eggs. Well, that's all the science I had. Thank you. Last thing I want to say also, my large curd eggs turned out pretty good. After looking at it and like comparing it with images on Google, it actually looked pretty good. There wasn't like a ton of curds, but I think the problem was I didn't mix it a lot earlier, not mix it, like push it to the side early in the beginning, but I think they still turned out good and like fluffy.